together. Korey got off to a great start this tournament. I believe he starts 6-0, and then lose. It's tough.
Depending on whether or not people have to play at the X1 stage, Korey could still possibly be live.
Yep. He's going to take a mulligan here while Chihoy is happy with his hand, but Chihoy's got to win very, very quickly. And that's tough to do for Miracles. 2 games in 20 minutes, that's tough.
Both players are going to have to speed up here.
Yep. And these are 2 players that play at a pretty deliberate pace, too.
Yeah.
So some quick shuffling, send it back. See if Korey can find 6 cards he likes.
I don't think Chihoy is a particularly slow player. He plays slow decks.
He does play slow decks. He's not that slow of a player. I will agree with that.
And you're going to see, I think, a lot of this kind of shortcutting here.
Yeah, top to start. Just a volcanic island there for McDuffie. He'll draw very quickly. There's a Caracas. He'll pass the turn back. Chihoy going to sacrifice a Flutter Strand, dig out a land.
Chihoy here trying to avoid the X01/X2 finish here.
Yeah, the disaster. Spin the top. Forcible Island and a Plains are the cards he's looking at. Forces the draw, Flooded Strand, kick it back. McDuffie will draw an island.
Magic Blades for Sean O'Brien, William Corson, Dusty Harris, and Jordan Smythe.
There that is, pass the turn back.
Again,
Chihoy will spin.
William Corson,
Counterbalance among the cards.
Harris, and Jordan Smythe.
Looks like he wants to draw that one, so he will.
See if Chihoy is willing to go for it here. I think he has a little bit of protection in his hand.
There that is. Korey has a red elemental blast that he would like to cast on counterbalance. Will Chihoy fight back? He'll start by sacrificing a Flooded Strand. A little bit lower.
It's going to be a big fight. Korey needs to win this.
Yep. Three fetch lands, excuse me, has Chihoy down to 17. Gonna spin the top. Ponder, Arid Mesa, Plains, peel a card. Force of Will, removing Ponder.
Chihoy is very serious about this if he's willing to spend his mana that way.
Yep. Korey has a Spell Pierce in his hand. He's going to Fluster Storm, Storm, Storm quite a few times on that Force of Will.
I think Korey had a Spell Pierce in hand and elected to do this instead to play around potentially a Red Blast, which Chihoy had access to.
Very smart. Stoneforge Mystic time, perhaps? Not just yet.
I mean, you can also just go for True Name Nemesis here, and in the event that it doesn't resolve, it's because Chihoy is fetching, and at that point, the top is shuffled away.
That's exactly what he's going to try to do.
So I don't mind the test spell here, even though there's a little bit of a risk, because the upshot is, since his Divine Top is no longer a factor.
And, you know, he has a Jace in his hand, too.
Yep.
And, you know, he would rather get the Pyroblast out on the True Nemesis and then resolve the Jace, and there's not a Pyroblast there. So that's what it looks like is going to happen. And, as you mentioned, the top's gone now, which is so important when you're playing against Miracles. So pass the turn back. No land there for McDuffie. But it looks like Chihoy has a Brainstorm here. So he'll draw a couple of cards, a Ponder, a Jace of his own, and a Source of Plowshare. He's going to have to put a few back, but he also has a top in his hand right now, and he's putting Entreat the Angels back on top of his deck in some fashion. There is a top. This leaves him with the Swords and a Mystery card in hand. McDuffie will draw a card to Scalding Tarn. Looks like it's Stoneforge Mystic. There that is. That'll resolve. Quickly going to search for some equipment. We'll see which one it's going to be.
I have to imagine it's Batterskull, maybe a sword if there's one available on the sideboard.
There's Batterskull. There's the swords. Get that thing off the table. Or at least try.
Spell Pierce is degrading in value, but if Korey is worried about Jace the Mind Sculptor, I believe he would have no recourse here if he decides to fight over this. I suppose he has a Jace of his own.
Yeah. Perhaps seeking a little weakness. Spin the top. Entreat is among those cards. We know that. Jace is the actual top one. There's Jace. It's in. Starts at 3. We'll see where it goes. It's a brainstorm. Entreat. Arid Mesa. Counterbalance. Couple of cards going to go back here for Chihoy. Arid Mesa. Kick it over. McDuffie will draw. Flooded Strand. You mentioned he's got a Jace of his own. We already know about the Battered Skull. One of the mystery cards over there is a copy of Dig Through Time.
But Chihoy's Jace is a lot more powerful than Korey's. She's got better tools to find, miracle cards to manipulate. I believe if both players have Jace, that's a game that's going to favor Chihoy.
Strand. Korey going to sacrifice that. He'll go down to 19. Try to play these games as fast as you can. But there's a lot of decisions with Jeskai Stoneblade.
Yeah, these are not easy turns to play, especially because Korey has Dig Through Time in hand.
Yep.
So every spell has the implication of, all right, I get one more card in my graveyard a turn sooner. Is it worth being more aggressive with my spells?
Jace of his own. How to use it now. That part's not easy. It's a brainstorm. Flooded Strand, Scalding Tarn, Sword of Feast and Famine are the cards that are drawn. A couple of cards go down. Stoneforge comes in, put Jace down at 2. Kick it back. I'll go Chihoy's way. He'll brainstorm. Entreat the Angels among the cards. There's Counterbalance. Last card in Chihoy's hand is a counter spell. And he'll pass the turn back over to McDuffie.
And this is sort of what I alluded to about the dueling Jaces. Chihoy is just much better suited to play a long controlling game.
Yep. Time to Jace. There's a Flooded Strand.
It's very important for Korey to get this Trinity to resolve.
Yeah. It's not going to happen, we think. We'll see. Yep, Counterspell's going to take care of it. See, now, does Korey want to shift gears? Yeah, he wants to shift and put Battered Skull into play. I was curious if he was going to attack the Jace, put it down to 1, and then Jace is kind of in a rock and a hard place, but Chihoy just going to spin the top, leave Entreat on top of his deck. He'll brainstorm here with Jace. 3 cards coming. Ponder among them. Terminus and Entreat there. Both Miracles going to go back. There's a land, kick the turn back. Sacrifice, Scalding Tarn.
And Chihoy's got it all set up at this point. And Korey is going to be hard-pressed to win counterspell battles with Counterbalance in play.
Tundra is the weapon he wants. grabbed the Volcanic Island there by accident, but he wants a Tundra, of course, so he can put in the Batter Skull. That's what he'll do. Germ Token, bang. We're moving, and we're grooving. McDuffie will draw. Will he brainstorm? You see his hand dig through time. Sword of Feast and Famine over there too. Vendilion Click as well. The question is, how does he want to use his Jace?
Well, he can't profitably Fate Seal Chihoy against his Divining Top. I think he has to brainstorm. It's not great right now.
V-Click was such a big draw
Yes.
because it messes up the miracles. Here he comes. Draw. Korey's going to dig in response to the draw with top.
He's been sitting on this one for a long time.
Yep. So there that is. It's going to resolve. Take a look at the top 7. A Flooded Strand, Volcanic Island, a Brainstorm, a Stoneforge Mystic, a Tundra, a Jace, and a Volcanic Island. Not the best dig through time I've ever seen.
Very little help. I'm sure he would have really preferred to find some permission there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much better that these are not the next 7 draw steps for Korey, but
Yeah.
this is not this is not very much help.
Dig's done resolving. This is all in response still, mind you. But doesn't want to cast Brainstorm now. Looks like he might sack the fetch land first. He will cast Brainstorm. Counterbalance is out there. Chihoy looks at his card.
But the activation is on the stack. Keep in mind, Chihoy knows 2 of the 3 cards.
Yep. Force Will Counterspell among the cards that Korey has found. Really, really nice play here by Korey.
Yeah, there you go. That's a little something you can work with.
Yeah, it's just responding to the activation of the top and not responding to the miracle that comes off. Just all of these things, he just knows that, okay, this is relatively safe when I'm doing it. It opens up the door for a 1-mana spell, which is important. So now Brainstorm's done resolving. Not sure. It says, can I please draw a card? No.
Nope, we're not done. Great operations here from Korey.
Flooded Strand. This is all in an effort to get Jace off of the board. And now he might give him the green light. Yep. Entreat the Angels. I'm a little surprised he's going to let him cast it.
It's pretty easy just to counterspell it.
I suppose. I mean, you can. It's easy to counterspell, but you can also V-click it too. Within your hand, and you won't be able to pay for it. So,
Sure.
I was a little surprised to counterspell instead of V-click, but looks like you just want. I mean, chances are he just wants to pick a better spot with V-click once he has Karakas available.
I was about to make the exact same point. It would be shields down here if Terminus somehow resolved to be a little messy to lose everything. If this counterspell resolves, Korey's in such a commanding position that I think he can afford to be maybe a little inefficient with the Vendilion Click.
Jace is off the table now.
And now even if Chihoy is able to Terminus away the board, Korey has Stoneforge, Jace the Mind Sculptor plus a hand of cards.
Jace puts top to the bottom.
Beautiful.
Yeah, top card now for Chihoy is Terminus. So he's going to cast that. And he'll just let that stuff go.
Yeah, Korey doesn't even need to bother with any of that stuff. He's got Jace in play. He can start Fade Sealing. He has Click plus Karakas.
Here's Ponder. Take a look at a couple of the cards. Counterspell Swords and a Sensei's Divining Top there for Chihoy. He's going to keep, of course, with the Ponder now. There is a Sensei's Divining Top. He's curious to see if this is going to resolve. At this point, Shihoe probably can't win the match, but he can draw it.
Well, it's 1-0 Korey right now.
Yep.
But with Force of Will and Jace ticking up, Korey might be able to just
Might be able to win it.
weather the storm.
Yeah. Brainstorm. There's Spell Pierce. This is a Volcanic Island. That is a Brainstorm. 2 cards going back here for McDuffie. There that is. Stoneforge. Counterspell.
Legacy Open players, that is time in your final round. Active player finish the turn, proceed to 5 additional turns. If you
So it
have
might be
time
on the
extension,
plan of
please call for a-
picking up and replaying Batterskull now.
Oregon is trying to main phase. I suppose he can't even go for the click at this point because Shihoe always has the option of just drawing the counterspell.
Yeah. Top the draw. Spin the top. Counterspell among those cards. We know that. Swords of Plowshares and an Island are the other 2. There is top.
I think Korey needs to strongly consider just trying to go all the way up with Jace here. Because I don't
Sure.
know if there's a lot to be gained by brainstorming anymore. So many of Korey's draws don't do anything.
V-click. Chewie knows there's no 3 down there. He could sacrifice an Arid Mace that he has in play. You guys can barely see it at the top. It looks like he's going to let it in.
And Korey can filter out his own draw a little bit here by just getting rid of one of these one casters.
Brainstorm time. Two cards going to go back. Scalding Tar in the land. Perhaps we're going to equip Batterskull. Leave Caracas available. That's what it looks like. There's that. Beatdowns. Chewie going to spin his top. We know there's a swords there that he can find. It's a middle card, so he places that on top. He'll draw a card with Sensei's Divining Top. It is the swords. He'll cast it. Let's see what Korey wants to do here.
Chewie still has to find a way to win this game.
Yep.
That's the biggest problem here. And all of these turns, even though he's fending off what Korey's doing, is just spinning his tires a little bit. And time is running off the clock.
And Korey can use the Caracas to save this. Chewie has effectively done very little. Spin the top again. Top Counterspell Island. He'll reorganize. It's time to draw. Top will come into play. Pass the turn back. McDuffie will untap those 6 lands. He'll draw a card. Let's copy a Plateau. You do wonder if McDuffie will ever change gears, but given the score of the match, he doesn't have to.
No, he does not.
Yeah.
And it's tough to Fate Seal because of the Divining Tops. It's not really worth that much. It only matters if you're planning on going ultimate. It only matters if, you know, Korey is trying to actually win the game here. That Jace only goes ultimate over the course of, you know, the next 6 turns or something like that. 5 turns.
2 cards go back. Wear and Tear is added to the hand.
And at that point, time's run out. So
Yeah.
once you're in that position, you might as well be brainstorming because you're not going to do anything with the ultimate unless you're trying to win the game outright.
Yep. It's about knowing time and situation. You know, he's up a game. It looks like Korey has a rules question here very quickly. So we'll pause it for just a moment. As it looks like our players are very close to time. If that, we'll find out exactly what's going to happen here.
But at this point, Chewie, it seems relatively impossible for him to win the game. I guess a large enough entreat still gives him some hope.
Yep.
I imagine this relates to wear, tear, and mana cost on counterbalance reveals.
Ah, what a delight that is. Fortunately, I talked with the judge, and I know how that works.
How about you explain to listeners at home?
It can be a 1 or a 2, but it can't be a 3. When you reveal a card, you're revealing either wear or tear, but you're not revealing wear and tear fused. That can never be done. So counterbalance with wear tear is a delight. That's for sure. Now, when you do fuse it, it does cost 3.
Yes.
That's the
When it's
thing
on
that-
the stack, it is whatever it is.
Correct. But in Chihoi's case, if it were on his side of the table, he can reveal it to counterbalance, and it's either a 1 or a 2, but it's not a 3. Can be a little confusing, those split cards. Looks like it's turn 1 of extra turns.
Even if this just played out to the natural conclusion, I think Korey's got a huge edge.
I think he would win. I think he would. He's got an active Jason. He has had it for some time. And really what he can do is just kind of exhaust Chihoi's resources at this point. You know, you saw that on the turn with the Source of Plowshares on the click. All right, pick it up. You wasted a card. You know, that's the kind of exhaustion that we'll go throughout this game.
Korey's got a lot of dead cards in hand, but he's still got 7 of them.
Yep.
And he's shown before that he has the ability to finagle around the various counterbalance shenanigans that Chihoi tries to do.
And we also know that there's a Batter Skull out there, so he also has the potential line of pick up Batter Skull and replay it and force you to have a 5 mana spell.
On top of just chasing for the next 4 turns.
Yeah.
And assuming that'd be good enough.
So any way you slice it, I think McDuffie would win this one. He's going to Brainstorm here because no reason not to. Blue Blast among the cards, also a Flusterstorm there. He'll, of course, have to put 2 back. I like what I've seen when I've watched him play. He's definitely very skilled with this deck. That was exactly what he was looking to accomplish.
Very quick reveal there off that counterbalance.
Yep. Take a look at things over there. Korey wants to make sure he's happy with what he sees.
Yeah, just, I mean, double checking. Snapcaster got revealed, so can never be too careful.
I mean, better safe than sorry, as they say, right? So turn 2 of extra turns here. Chihoi going to draw a card with top. These 2 players just battling it out to the bitter end.
And Korey just trying to protect himself at this point from a big entreat.
Yep. Take a draw. Snapcaster Mage. See what's down there to work with. Doesn't seem like all that much.
Most of it's, I mean, just the nature of Chihoi's deck, most of it's reactive.
There's a Snappy. Korey going to reaching now. He's got something he wants to play.
Spec with this amount of mana being tapped, it's probably Vendilion Click.
Sure. I think he has to decide if he even cares. All right, that's good.
Yeah, not really worth, I think, fighting over a random cantrip at this stage.
Probably worth fighting over that. Pyroblast going to target Jace.
Well, I don't know if Korey really has the tools to fight over it effectively. Because we know that a Divine Top's on top right now, and most of his interaction is 1 mana. He can just let this go and save all the bullets that he has to fight over and treat, which is the only thing he has to worry about in terms of losing inside of turns.
Here's 3 mana. Hey, let's Jace go.
Yeah, I like this play from Korey. There's just no incentive for him to move on any of this stuff.
It's always tough, you know, when Jace is being targeted by something.
Yeah.
And I'll let that go. It's one of the best cards of all time. And easily the best card he has in play. Going to sacrifice the Mesa with Chihoy here.
And Chihoy is just digging as much as he possibly can to try to find treat.
Yep. That's all this is. There's Vendilion Click. It's a response to the fetch land. He's willing to use Karakas here, too. Timing is everything.
Doesn't have to care about the Vendilion Click.
Yeah.
The old Vendilion Click staring contest.
Yeah. Targeting me or you? He wants to see what Chihoy has. It's a counter spell. That's going to go to the bottom. Mystery card coming. Should probably be the top. Now that's going to resolve.
So Chihoy gets one more spin at it.
Yeah. And he will spin. A couple of cards here. Don't get a good look at him this go around, unfortunately. And those will go back. And now we go to turn number 3. Chihoy will draw. Can he find an entreat? There's a top. 4 mana. Jace.
And I think this just seals it now because this had to be in treat. There's not enough mana left over now.
Looks like he may go with Spell Pierce. Yep. And this is all, I think, a setup to get a 1 on top of the deck so the force is clear. Spin. There's a Brainstorm, so there's a 1 mana spell.
Please come into the stage now, whether it's ready for the line, fill out tax information.
Right, I just don't see any incentive for, I mean, I guess he can counter now at this point because the writing is on the wall.
Yeah. Yep, Jace is in. And that'll attack. But we did confirm, just to make sure that this is game 2.
Yep.
So, you know, there may have been the question of how many, you know, do we have the score wrong? Is it 1-1, and that's why these guys are playing out? No, it's game 2. But sometimes you do see this where 2 players just want to kind of just battle it out to the natural conclusion of the match, or go as far as they can. So,
although it's not entirely fair to call this the natural conclusion of the match to some extent, because Korey's plays have been, you know, exceedingly conservative.
sure. Turn 4.
I think that if the game was in doubt, we were in game 3, Korey could have pushed a lot harder.
And Korey just draws and passes the turn. Chihoy's going to spin. This will be his last turn of the tournament. Draw a card, Island, put it directly into play. And that is going to do it, my friends. Looks like it's going to be Korey McDuffie who does win 1-0. And we'll see if he's able to make it into the elimination rounds with a 1-0 win, be the only X2 that does make it here as we come back to the booth.